Alrighty, here I am live on Facebook. Hello, I'm going to wait for people to hop on. Happy Sunday. I am going to try to invite this to, I've never done this before, so bear with me, to my group. I'm just inviting a few people here. And let's see. Bear with me, guys. Hello. Just gonna invite some people, and I'm not sure. I've never had to share this in a group, so I am gonna figure out how to do this. If you know and want to share, please do. Hi, Colette. Hello. I'm gonna figure out how. I've never done this, so I might have to do it on my phone just to share this to my group. Let's see. All right. Hey, Penny. Okay, I am gonna go. Let's see. Share to group. All right. And if anybody wants to share it to any other groups, please feel free. But I just shared it in my own group, Awaken Your Body. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Terry. Hi, Penny. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Colette. All right, guys. So I am going to put this on YouTube, so I'm not going to wait too long for people to hop on. Sorry for being late. I'm just kind of going with the flow, which is kind of how life is these days. Hello. And yes, please say hi for those that are here. And when you are watching as a replay, just type in replay so I know. But I just want to send out a heart welcome to everybody here live with me now and then watching later. And I really welcome you. We're going to talk about duality, unity, consciousness, oneness, transition to new earth, and whatever kind of comes through. I did pull a few cards just because it helps give me roadmaps and directions. So I do have kind of a bit of a reading. And hey, Lisa. Hi, Natalie. Hi, Pat, Carl. Awesome, guys. So we're going to talk about duality, and I just want to start with setting this as a sacred space and welcoming you all here and just connecting with my heart to everybody here in this moment now and in this moment and any moment in the future, watching and replay, because we know there is no such thing as time and we all exist all at once. So welcome and happy Sunday. I hope everybody's having a good day. And if you haven't met me online or in a session or in a video or anything, welcome. So this video kind of has been brewing with me for a little while, on and off for probably a few months now, with this whole topic of duality and unity consciousness and oneness, and it's kind of been growing in terms of this discussion. And hey, Carol, and really it's kind of about it's not what's right or wrong. It's really helping people understand what it is and what they each mean and where we're going. And I really wanted to speak from the heart and clarify kind of in helping people understand what these are and what they mean. And it's really kind of been building lately, because I've been seeing, and you may too have been seeing in the light worker community, kind of almost like a split, like Spirit shows me like a zipper kind of happening with the energies of like timeline splitting. And it was interesting. If you watch Sixtina French, she does beautiful sacred geometry, crystal, light language art with crystals, and she makes grids, and they're absolutely stunning. And she did one where it came to me, I'm like, it looked equally like a zipper splitting and a split and then emerging together all at once. And I got this message, and that maybe a week ago she shared that, and it was beautiful. And I was like, wow, it's like there's a zipper splitting of timelines and then emerging together. Hi, Stephen, welcome. And emerging together of timelines, like all at the same time. And I was like, wow, what's going on? And I kind of felt into it. And then just observing people and relationships and connections, and how all of a sudden there's like some people like I'm just really merging in together with, and we're connecting and we're coming together and we're working together, and it's like this tighter community coming closer together. And then on the other hand, it seems that some are kind of doing this and we're coming away and we're pulling away from each other and doing this, like kind of, you know, maybe we were on mutual paths and now it's doing this. And it's been, oh, this is really interesting. And at one point I was even shown an image of spirit of like when I was a kid and I had a toy train track, and there was like, you put a train on the little track changer and you turn it and, you know, you change the direction. And it was like basically like timeline changing. And we change timelines all the time. But basically I see this kind of a split of these two groups of thought of duality and oneness. And I don't want to say verses, because then that's just creating separation. We're not here to create separation. I'm here just as a voice for spirit to teach and help others understand what they each mean and to kind of clarify. So duality is really confusing. A lot of people believe in that we have to have duality because you can't have, there's light and dark coexist, and that male and female coexist, and right and left and up and down, and right or wrong, you know, on and on and on. We see it in many different ways, and we all have darkness and shadow within ourselves. The duality I'm speaking of is more of an extreme duality, like duality that we see with ego, service to self, greed, war, fighting, control, fear-based manipulation, doing things for service to self. It's more the extreme behavior and control that we see in society, competitiveness. You know, we can see this in sports. Sports can be very uniting, and it can also be very dividing. It can kind of go either way. Political system, same thing. You know, any type of system or organization can either serve to unite or serve to separate and split. And we see that very evident in political systems, right? It's like the right side or the left side. What side are you on? And it always aggravates me. And it's like, well, why do we have to choose a side? Why can't we all just be one? Why can't we all just be, you know, one group of humanity, one group of, you know, this country, this galaxy, this planet, united as one? And with duality, it's really, I see it as seeking to separate and seeking to serve self. There is darkness within each of us, and I don't really even call it darkness. I call it shadow. To me, darkness is evil forces, is really dark stuff. It's the ego, you know, on the extreme. We all have ego to a point of, it's our identity. It's, you know, our name, our 3D name, and what we do, and to pay the bills and that kind of thing. That's fine and dandy. But when the ego becomes extreme and it's control and greed and will do anything, to get what it wants at any expense, and will put a mask on and appear as light and to get what it wants. This is not where we're going, and we're going to New Earth, to this place of unity consciousness. It is not going to have duality. And I've listened to many channeled messages by spirit, by the archangels and Yeshua, that's, you know, basically, and, you know, from prime messages from Prime Creator that say duality is ending. We are transitioning to oneness, to unity consciousness. And I just want to read something I posted, actually in response on, in one of the groups. We were talking about duality, and I wrote a response to someone that had a comment of kind of agreeing with both, that, we have the male and the female, and we have both. And so what I wrote was to him was, yes, when two or more come together for a common cause, for something external to themselves, the ego, then essentially this is oneness, regardless if it's two people or 2,000. Oneness is about balance and coming to center with the all beliefs coexisting as one for the one greater existence and expression of being human. I see duality as an extreme polarity that strives to define and delineate, thus separate. We are all unique expressions and different, but also part of one grand puzzle. We also seek to make, but also part of one grand puzzle. When one seeks to make their own separate puzzle, this is the duality we speak of. This is separation. One grand puzzle versus two separate ones. So I often use this analogy of puzzles because, and I struggled with this myself personally too. Unity is key. Yes, thank you. Hi, Katrina. Man, my head and crown is really tingling right now. I don't know what you guys, a lot of energy coming in from spirit. So this analogy of the puzzle is one that I've been getting from spirit for quite a while. And I've been struggling with, because I've been, as many of you have been going down this path of self-discovery, learning who you are on a soul level, discovering your soul aspects, who is my higher self? What energies do I carry? Who have I been in a past life? And we begin to embrace these. And so we kind of break down our own identity and start identifying with these identities. And some say, well, that's wrong, because then you're we're all one, we're all part of source. Yes, we are. And it's right at 11:44 as I said that. Yes, we all are part of one. We are all are part of source, but we're all unique expressions of source. When you make a big puzzle of 1,000 or 5,000 pieces, no two puzzle pieces are alike. They're all different, and they're all meant to be different. We are all from source, created from this one main energy, but we're all unique. None of us are the same. Even two people who carry the same, in my case, Mary Magdalene energy, are all different, because we all have different types and vibrations of energies, and different mixtures and recipes of energies, and different missions, and different life experiences, and different culture, and we live in different regions. We're all incredibly unique. And that's the beauty. That is the absolute beauty of being human, is being different and being unique. That does not mean that we're separating ourselves. It just means that there's nothing wrong with feeling good about yourself, with who you are, what you've done, what you've accomplished, and what your mission is, and what your goal is, and where you're going. There's nothing wrong with saying like, hey, this is what I've done and contributed, when it comes from the heart for the right reason. When we choose to make our own separate puzzle, let me back up, when we recognize that we're part of a grand puzzle. And this happens a lot when I have like sessions or just chat with video with people or texting. And we often will say to each other, it's like this awesome energy exchange. And I might be doing a session for somebody where I'm helping them, and then they give me a puzzle piece and they help me, or vice versa. It becomes this beautiful dance and energy exchange, because it's not about a dominant energy. It's not about a controlling energy. It's about working together and listening, because a teacher is always a student. The student is always a teacher. We're both teachers and students simultaneously on this earth. And there's some things I might be really good at and you're not. And there's some things you might be really good at and I'm not. And that's the whole point and the whole beauty. And we each contribute our puzzle piece, and each of us are equally important in terms of our purpose and our puzzle piece. And that's the oneness, is being unique and recognizing we're contributing and sharing puzzle pieces and working together. The duality is when we're like, nope, I'm making my own puzzle over here. And you're, instead of like, you remember in kindergarten where it's like, okay, everybody share your toys and work together, versus you go off in the corner and do your own thing. And you want to steal and hide all the toys to yourself. So that's kind of the difference of what we're talking about with duality. And, you know, Prime Creator, you know, I communicate and connect with Source and Prime Creator, and the messages I had in spring and summer were, and messages I would send out to the collective via the grid, were basically, duality is ending. We are transitioning to oneness and unity consciousness. The new templates for New Earth are done. They're complete. They were spoken into the crystalline grid. As we connect in through the crystalline grid, through our chakras and our Earth Star chakra, we connect to that energy, to that truth, to the divine intelligence, and we pull that energy up. And we can all do this. We can all connect to the grid down in the earth and through our soul star chakra up, you know, to divine, and receive the same messages. It's not proprietary information by any means. We all have access to this information, but the new templates are active in the grid, and we can, the more we connect to the true grid, to the crystalline grid, the more we pull this energy up. The more that we receive the activation and light codes from the sun and the central sun and just the cosmic energies in general coming to us, the more that, you know, we are activated and come into alignment with this oneness, with this the activation codes of that we need to be transitioning to New Earth. And we are in this transition right now to Earth, and it's going to be started in 2012, and it's going to take till 2032. So during this time, you know, Spirit shows me that it's going to be a little choppy. Okay. And some of the cards, you know, that I pulled, it was more for my own guidance, but I got a card about sensitivity and one about transition. And Mother Mary had come through, and she's here with us, and the archangels are here with us. And Mother Mary was talking about the sensitivity in terms of, you know, being sensitive to others on their path and where they are in their path and where they are in their understanding, and having unconditional love for them and holding space for them and not judging them. This is not about two different schools of thought. That creates separation and duality right there. This is not about that. This is recognizing that we all have free will, and we're all learning and awakening at our own pace. We all have different experiences that contribute, and different teachers and mentors that contribute to what we believe in this moment. And there's no right or wrong path. There's no right or wrong path or belief set. And it's really seeking your own truth within. And that's where the truth ultimately comes. But just be aware that people are sensitive with all of these energies coming in, of triggering other people, of getting into heated discussions, of debates. That's not what we're doing. This is just about recognizing the oneness and the God within everybody, the light in everybody, that we're all from the same source, recognizing this and really living what the word, you know, the mantra, the word namaste really means. The God in me means the sees the God in you, right? That's what namaste means. And how often do we flippantly, you know, or I shouldn't say the word flippantly, but sometimes some say that, but passively say this. But when, you know, how much are we truly living it and recognizing it? And it's about doing it always, especially to those that are on a different path, especially to those that we might disagree with, or we might think are on the wrong path. Who's to say they're on the wrong path? That's judgment. It's not up to us to judge. We may recognize that somebody has really strong light and strength, and that we wish them to be on an even higher timeline because we recognize that, but that's up to them to learn that lesson, and it's up to them to make that shift. what Spirit asks us to do is to hold space, to love unconditionally, no matter what has happened, no matter other people's choices, no matter their beliefs, no matter where they are, no matter if they've hurt you or blocked you or attacked you or disagreed with you or called you out on something, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. What matters is just the unconditional love, forgiveness, and acceptance. And at the same time, standing in your own truth, being empowered, walking on your path, and always going within for your truth, always going within for your answers, always going within for your guidance, always. And to make sure that's where your answers are coming from. Don't take my word for it, okay, guys? This is what a message from Spirit, and I'm just kind of explaining things. But this is up to each person to recognize where they are and to know if you're on the highest timeline for your highest good and the highest timeline for greater humanity versus on a timeline that is more self-serving or ego-based, fear-based, 3D program, or what. And it's your choice and everybody's choice with free will of where you wish to be and where you wish to go. Not all are going to be ready to shift, and some might not be ready for a year or 5 years, and that's okay. We are the way showers that are shifting first, and it's like we climb this mountaintop and we peak this summit, and then we're there to kind of hold the light and have the ropes and the belays to help everybody else up and to show them the way. It's like, hey, I just forged this path over here, come over here, you know. So that's kind of what we're doing. There's going to be a lot of confusion and chaos along the path, and that's okay. We can't let that shake us. We can't let things divide us further. The job is to bring everybody together and to unite everybody and not to be judging. So that's ultimately, you know, the foundation of where it's at. And, you know, with New Earth, where we're going, it's about the 5D, fifth dimensional energy and higher, you know, because some are talking about seventh dimensional energy. I know I go up and sit in the 12th dimensional energy when I do healing work. Hi, Lisa. That we shift up to the 12th D. I can astral travel like much, much higher than that. It doesn't matter. Whatever dimension where you're vibrating is where you're going to. But for the most part, I'm just going to use the term 5D because that's where majority of people are shifting to. Even though I know some of you guys are really strong, high vibe peeps, and that you are going even higher, and that's all good. But the whole point of one of the cards I had gotten was this card. Sorry, this is all backwards. Service. It's a really beautiful card. It's from my Journey of the Soul deck. I feel good when I can help others. And that is, I got chills. That is really about what the New Earth is about. It's about service for others, service for Gaia, assisting the collective, teaching. I did get a teaching learning card with Archangel Zadkiel. You know, it's about teaching, sharing ideas, learning on your own, and then as you learn, you then teach others. Shifting energies. I know, Lisa. Yeah, it's a lot of shifting going on for sure. But really, it's about service, and it's not service to self. It's service to other. And here is the really big key that you know, Spirit really wants to stress. They know the difference if you're doing service to self for your ego and patting yourself on the back, or if you're doing it truly from the heart. And they know that intent. The intent is absolutely everything in this, guys. Are you coming from the heart, and are you truly being genuine because you really want to help somebody and you really want to help Gaia and to heal Gaia? Or are you doing it to say, hey, great job, look what I did, earning money? Both exist, and that's fine. Again, that's everybody's choice. But spirit does know the vibration where you're coming from, and on your authenticity and your, you know, your genuineness to really truly live from the heart and to be here for the greater good of humanity. That's what 5D Earth is all about, where we're going, which is really about living in a community and working together, helping one another, sharing resources, sharing information, sharing energy. And it's a tough transition. It can be a tough transition because we're still in this monetary system where we do need to earn money, and it can be really challenging because we do need to share. Hi, Claire. Thank you. Welcome. Yeah, please feel free to share the video too in your group if you want. I know your group is kind of a different topic, but it's all good. Thanks for being here. It's really ultimately about, you know, your service and your purpose. And that can mean anything. Service can mean anything. It can just mean the way that you are. You can continue on in a quote unquote normal job, but it's really about who you are, sharing your wisdom, sharing your truth, sharing your love, sharing how you respect and work with others and humanity and Gaia, and teaching that. Another message I had gotten was, I wanted to talk about one other thing. This transition I had, the card I got was her transition, but really it was about transition. Transition in general, and change can be really scary. And that's where I was talking about this chaos and the unsteady feeling of this transition to New Earth, because it's scary. Change is scary. I mean, it may mean leaving a job or a relationship or a comfortable way of life. It may mean detaching from a group of people or an organization or a belief system that has always been part of you. When we make this change, as we awakening is about becoming the true self. Okay. And awakening is about, that's awesome. Thank you, Claire. I appreciate that. It's about awakening to the true self and peeling off layers. And we don't realize how much we might be living a life for somebody else because it's somebody else's projections upon us of the expectations of society, of a culture, of a religious system, of our family. I've been there. I've lived it. We all do. And parents don't do that intentionally. It's just, it just happens, you know. And so we're shifting and making this change to where it's truly about living our soul truth and our soul path. And in order to do that, it's going to mean that you're going to transition and break away from something. And that's scary. So just do the best you can to live in your truth and follow that path that feels best to you. And what is your truth? And look at your timeline and your truth and your path as, am I doing this for my soul mission? Is this my true soul mission? Or is this somebody else's truth? So I'm just going to throw that in there as in terms of also what we're feeling with these energy transitions, timeline jumping. And you're going to feel that you might timeline jump if, you know, you're going in and out of different realities and timelines that you share with other people. So you might jump into one timeline with one person, you know, a family member or your spouse, and then another one with work, and then another one when you're in your spiritual community. And it might feel kind of weird. What we really need to be doing is trying to merge them together. And for some, you'll be able to merge them all together into one timeline and to bring them together, bring the heaven on earth, bring the message of unity and oneness and unconditional love to all of the other earth planes, to all of the dimensions, to all of the timelines. Because what that's going to do is you're going to lift that timeline up and help bring them all into the one. Because that's what the oneness is about gathering up all these timelines, or showing me all these different timelines like spaghetti, and bringing it all into one. Oh, thank you, Belinda. On your birthday, and you found your calling. Oh my gosh, I got chills. Thank you. You're going to have to share that. I want to hear more. Awesome. Awesome. She says, great message today on my birthday. I found my calling. I have had the most amazing awakening. Oh my gosh, chills. Thank you. But really it's not necessarily about saying, well, I must leave, this relationship or this job because it's not, high vibe enough. You'll have to seek into your own inner truth for that. But for some, your service, might be the teaching and learning, the learning of others and the teaching at your job. If it's a 3D job, you may be the guiding light and the teacher and the service to others to lead the way. We cannot live in a spiritual bubble. We cannot live in our online Facebook groups anymore and keep our information and our truth and this wisdom locked up. I keep getting messages, oh, I've got chills, as I'm saying this, to break free of our bubble, to burst the bubble, to share our truth. So absolutely stay where you're at if that's what you're guided to. There's no shame or guilt in that. And I got this card, guilt, guilt with making changes. And to speak your truth and to walk your walk. And merge together the family, the friends, the job, the spiritual, gradually into one. It doesn't mean you need to go out and say all kinds of weird, wacky stuff that's going to make them look at you kind of, like you have three eyes, which, I guess we kind of do, right? But, it's really about gradually merging together timelines and merging together the truth, because that's the oneness. It's not all this separateness. It's really about kind of bringing everybody together, and it's going to take time. So be patient with others in your life, be patient with yourself, because we're learning. I'm learning, you're learning. We make mistakes, and that's okay, because that's what we're here for. We're here on earth to have this experience. We're here to learn lessons. We're here to help others and to help stimulate and trigger their awakening and to activate them. So it's everything is perfect in its perfect time. Okay. And I want everybody to really know that. I really want everybody to know that everything is perfect in its perfect time. When you do make these changes, Spirit says, please don't feel guilty. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge. This is really about releasing your guilt, your beliefs, and living your truth without shame. Okay, because there's so many that have this feeling of guilt and shame because of programming from family, from religion, of you can't do this because, and we get told of all these fear-based things. And we are so afraid to leave that behind. We're so afraid to make a change. We're so afraid to sit down and have that talk. We're so afraid to leave the job and just do a spiritual job. We're so afraid of it. But sometimes what you're most afraid of is what you have to do. That's what you have to do. That's where you have to go. That's your truth. That's your higher self and your higher calling telling you, get on that path. That's your truth. That's your road. That's your timeline. That's where you got to go. And when you feel those fears come up, go into it. Look into it. Feel into it. Ask, where is it coming from? Is it past life? Is it programming? Is it fear of the unknown because you don't see the path? You don't see the path, and it's not clear. It's not clear, and it's not going to be clear. My path is foggy, as can be, a lot of times. I see a certain distance. Sometimes I see much further, and in some aspects of it, I see really far. In other aspects of it, I see 2 steps in front of me, and that's it. And gosh, it's hard, but you know what? I wouldn't trade it for the world. I actually want to cry right now saying this. I wouldn't trade it for the world where I am, because I'm living my truth. And this is who I am, unapologetically. And I lived and I do this in faith and in trust and in knowing that there's The greatest thing that you can do in life is to live your truth and to break free and to be a free and sovereign being and know that you're free and sovereign, and to break free from fear, from control, from others telling you what you can't do or telling you what you should do. And the guilt goes along with the should. Okay, that goes along with the shoulds. And we weigh that on our shoulders. I do IET, integrative energy therapy. And one of the points is the shoulds and the coulds on our shoulders. And I release those energy points and release the weight of the world of what I should have done. I should have done it different. What could I have done? What should I be doing? And we have to let that go. We have to let that program, hi Fiza, we have to let that programming go of the shoulds and the coulds and what society expects and what family and what church and what religion and what the organizations and schools and our education, blah, 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 you know, what should we be wearing? How should we look? How should we appear? It doesn't matter. Whatever that should is for you is different. And we have to release them. We have to completely release them and live in our truth and come into that place of oneness within self. And that oneness is a lot of times about the truth within the heart, the unity within the self, the union with self, you know, union with spirit, coming into union with your higher self. Hi, Carmen, first time watching, love messages. Thank you. Appreciate it. You know, it's about the oneness with the self, the oneness with spirit, the higher self, pulling in your higher self and becoming your higher self. And finding that timeline and we're going to jump in and out of timelines, and that's okay. Sometimes we have to go to a lower timeline for a lesson. Sometimes we have to go to a lower timeline to help somebody else or be with a loved one. And that's okay too. There's no judgment, there's no guilt, there's no shame, there's no fear. But really, it's about coming into the now moment and living in the now, living your truth without fear, without control, peeling away all of the projected programming wherever that came from. And we release it with love. We don't stomp it to the ground and hate it. We don't, you know, have bad thoughts about where that came from. We send off these layers, you know, it's like peeling off layers of clothing. Like, I don't need this baggage. I don't need this jacket. I don't need it on me. We take it off and we say, thank you. I don't need this anymore. Thank you. I don't need this anymore. Thank you. Until you're stripped naked to your true self. And that takes time. You guys know that takes time. And that's what awakening and the ascension journey is all about. But man, I forget where I'm even going with this. There's so much information and messages coming through. But really, it's this, I know I'm here to talk about the oneness and duality, but it's about taking off what is not you and becoming you, and just standing in your truth without fear, without anything or anybody telling you you can and cannot do. And that's, you know, a big part of this for light workers, where so many struggle. And I know it's hard. So many struggle with this, and they have a hard time getting fully onto that timeline, because for whatever reason, and that's okay. It's, you know, it's really about the merging and bringing that higher into the lower, the heaven onto the earth, bringing the two together and merging. I remember talking about this before another time, is like people feeling like they're ping-ponging back and forth between, I go up to the 5D and I feel great, then I got to come back down to the 3D and do normal stuff, and or go to my job or be with, you know, certain other people. And it's hard, but we're not supposed to be doing that anymore. We're supposed to be bringing this level up here, down here, and bringing them together into one, okay? Because even going back and forth from 3D to 5D, and I'm not going to define it as duality, but it's almost that same difference, right? It's the two different worlds, two different timelines, and it's like, no, let's do this. We're bringing it together. We're bringing it to one plane. We're bringing it to one dimension. And speaking of dimensions, that also came through, is there's different dimensions, timelines, all merged together. So there's some that are very much in the 3D earth, some in the 5D, some in 7D, some in 12D. Awesome. You know, kudos to you. And they're all, if you imagine, back in the old days before computers in school, yes, I'm that old, we had transparencies, and the teacher would have a projector and they would put transparencies up on the projector, and they could put multiple ones. So imagine a bunch of transparencies on top of each other, and they're each a different dimension, each a different timeline. So it's kind of, and they're like kind of sandwiched together on top of one another. So if you imagine all these transparencies, it's kind of like the dimensions coming together, the 3D and the 5D and the 7D and whatever, all coming together. So that's kind of what it's like. And it's like they're coming together, and sometimes we see them, sometimes we don't, but they coexist. It's not like we have a bunch of different planets that we're, you know, it's like you're going to get on a ship and go, it's like, oh, hey guys, see you later. I'm going to 5D Earth now. Bye. It doesn't work that way, just, you know, because people have asked that and thought that, but it doesn't, you know, I think most of you know, but it doesn't work that way, but it's basically coexisting. Now it may be that, you may not ever cross paths with people in different timelines, which is often the case. It's like, gosh, I never see that person anymore, or talk to them, or see their post on Facebook. It's because your timelines are kind of shifting apart. And we understand law of attraction and vibration, that you're going to attract those into your timeline and your reality that match, or a vibrational match for you. And so, you know, you can see where you're at based on who you are attracting. So that's a good way to test and kind of have an idea where you're at, is who are you attracting and what kind of are their energies and vibrations, because that's a perfect mirror for where you are. Okay. And I mean a very organic match kind of thing, that it's just lining up with certain people, with ease and without effort. So let's see, I just got to look at my notes because I was kind of connecting with spirit all day. Okay, the transition, we were talking about duality. Duality is going to gradually transition out, and it will be a gradual transition. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be very gradual, when we were talking about duality earlier. So it will play itself out. Things will just gradually fade away and come to an end, or people will, that are, whether it's an individual or a corporation or a belief set, those are going to gradually transition. And this is where the key comes in for light workers that are in these communities, that are in the churches, that are in the jobs, that are working at the banks or the schools. You're the change. You're the change in those institutions and in those places to make that difference, because in those places is where you have the influence. I've left my nursing job, so I'm not there in person making that, you know, because I'm called to do this full time, but I'm not there to make that influence. However, those that are in your jobs, please do not feel guilty or bad, or that you're not doing the right thing or on your spiritual path because you're still working your job. By golly, you're probably the most important people on this journey because you're there. Because that's tough, because you are there to be that voice and the energy, even if it's just sharing your light and your love and your vibration without even saying anything, to raise people up and to be the guiding light. And when others come to you and say, gosh, what's your secret? Then you can kind of share it and open up that conversation. But you guys really are there to influence and be the change makers in your everyday lives, kind of thing. To quote Michael Anthony, who I share some of his videos on my group. But you know, his YouTube, I think, is called Our Everyday Lives. Anyway, I just came through. But anyway, but it's really about bringing in that message and sharing it with the collective, because how else do we expect the collective to change and to shift and to understand and to come up to where we are? We most certainly cannot judge anything if we haven't taught them. And we have to do it slow, at whatever rate works for them, and in baby steps. We can't just dump information on them. It has to be planting seeds. So I want you guys to see yourself as gardeners, as planters, and sowing the seeds of your intention, of your love, of unity consciousness. And it might just be a word, it might be a sentence, it might be how you conduct something, it might be how you responded when somebody attacked you or judged you, it might be a conversation you have with your boss about an idea. And you can go to your boss with little ideas to make little changes, because you know what, it's all about baby steps. And oh my gosh, I can't believe I just said that, because I just looked at the next card I pulled. I got chills. Camel boy, and it says small steps. And it's too funny because I was just thinking, what's the meaning of this card? And I thought when I pulled it, it's number 33, and it's got a camel and a little boy. And I thought, oh, Yeshua, Jesus, yes, of course you're here with us and you're guiding this message in this video with me, because, he's always here with me. But it's small steps, guys. It's all about small steps. And being okay with the small steps. We personally are taking leaps quite often, but we got to take a deep breath and slow down and recognize that we are the way showers. We are the light workers. We are the gatekeepers. We are the teachers. Okay. We are teaching and learning, and they are learning. We are teaching, they're learning, and simultaneously, right? So we plant the seeds, the ideas, the thoughts, the words. And often it could just be as simple as changing verbiage, as how you respond. Hi, Nancy, how you do things. And that's how you teach, by setting an example. You don't have to say, well, I think blah, blah, blah. That's not the approach, because you're going to be shut down most likely, unless somebody comes to you and they say, hey, can you help me? I want to know. So small steps in this, guys, small steps, and just being, the very first card I gotten was sensitivity, being very, very sensitive to other people, to yourself, to your family, to everybody around you, to those that are in a lower timeline. Hi, Nancy. Carmen, I work in a prison and have tried so hard, but I'm finally having to leave because the negativity is overwhelming and draining. Oh my goodness, I can't imagine. Wow, that's a lot of negative energy to be around, and that we can only work in that type of environment for so long. And you do have to really protect your energy. And I know with the awakening, we become so sensitive, and that's the sensitivity message. We are sensitive, so we have to honor our own. We have to honor the sensitivity of other people. And honor the sensitivity, and honor the timeline that others are on, honor the free will that others have, honor the sensitivity of family members and those that may not understand. They might be very confused to what's happening with you. Why are you changing? Why do you want to no longer be affiliated with this political organization or this religious organization, or with the school of thought? Or why do you always used to believe this, now all of a sudden you're changing? Like, what's wrong with you? People want to say there's something wrong with you because you made a change. Oh, thank you, video. Thank you, thank you, video. Thank you, Pisa. I'm just reading what she says. Thank you. But what's wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with anybody. We are all light. We are all love. We are all from source. And we honor that in everybody. And when somebody starts saying what's wrong with you, that's where we can show them the compassion, but also set our sacred boundary and just say, nothing's wrong with me. I'm just finding my inner truth and my inner voice. And this is who I really am and who I always have been. And it's going to be scary for you, and it's going to be scary for family, because they're going to think, she's lost her crackers, she's lost her marbles, there's something wrong. And we know that when you go through this transition and this awakening, we all go through these periods where we do feel like we've lost our mind. We're hearing voices, it's like, oh, it's the angels talking to me. Okay, I'm not crazy after all, but you feel, in the beginning, like you're losing your mind, and we're not. losing our mind. We're vibrating higher to where we see and feel and know higher dimensions. And it's like, you know what? All this world, the spiritual world in the higher dimensions exists. It's real. I've seen it. I've felt it. I know it. I communicate with it. And once you get to that level, then you see it. Okay, you know, not crazy after all. That this is truth. But you know what? Something is not a truth until you experience it yourself. And so we cannot fully expect somebody to understand us until they've had their own experience. And I had this with friends too, where I've shared things, and there's some who really do feel your heart and your vibration and your truth and like, wow, that's really amazing. I'm really impressed. Or others are, they have a lot, and those people that do say that, their hearts are open and they're feeling your heart and they're feeling your truth. The ones that are very accepting. The ones that are saying that's ridiculous, you're crazy, you're wrong, you know, blah, 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 that they are coming from fear. Don't allow their projections and their fears to affect you, to pull you off your timeline or pull you away from your truth. Okay, guys, that's so important to stay in your truth and know what your truth is. And when you get wobbled, and we all got wobbled, by golly, have I been wobbled and knocked over a few times. We all have. It's part of the experience, and we get back up. We find our truth. We go within. It doesn't come from outside of us. It comes within. And sometimes we have to step away, go for a walk in the woods, isolate ourselves. And we do isolate ourselves for a reason, because we cannot find our truth if there's chaos around us and there's constantly other people around us. We have to kind of go sit in the tub. You know, if you live with other people, you know, go for a walk, do what you need to do to have that quiet time alone. Carmen says, yes, once you feel that love, peace, and bliss, it's hard feeling the lower vibrations. It really is. It really is. And Carmen, my heart goes out to you. It's not easy being in a low vibration environment. You do the best that you can, as long as you can, to bring that energy there and to share it with them and to show it with them. You know, but you do what you feel guided to do, and where your heart is drawing to you. And Fiza, I pronounced your name right. Oh, good. I'm that makes me feel good. Thank you. And you got to live your truth. Okay, guys, because it's always about your own truth and not anybody else's. That being said, we have compassion and sensitivity to those around us that we love, because they're a friend that we've been with and known for a long time. They're our family. We're not saying sayonara to people. We're just sometimes having to step back to find our truth and to live our truth. And then once we feel strong and we get back up and we have clarity, we can go back in and reconnect. So sometimes with the timelines, we can kind of go apart, find our path, find our truth, find our mission, and then come back in. And if you feel like you get pulled down and pulled off your path just by dipping down into that other timeline too much, then stay away more if you need to. It's not easy to do by any means. It doesn't mean you don't love them. And it's hard for family, because then it's like, well, you know, she's not being a good daughter or a good son or a good spouse because they're doing something different, or they're not here as much. And that's, you know, a judgment, but they have fear and they don't understand it. So the best that you can do is just to say, you know what, I'm on this spiritual journey and I have a lot of confusion and I just really need some time to find myself. And it's not a nervous breakdown. It's not a midlife crisis, which is really, I think that's what they used to call it. It's not that. So be sensitive to yourself, be forgiving to yourself, be sensitive that others may not understand, and be patient. It's going to take time. And then just do the best you can with that integrating, with that planting the seeds, with being the gardener, and you keep nurturing it. Okay. It's kind of like, you know, we all have seen the analogy of the lotus, that it lives in the mud for a long time and in that darkness, and eventually it comes out. So speaking of what the lotus had, it just reminds me of the darkness again. So there may very well be many, and I know there are, light workers and people of light that are in that darkness. They may be there to shine their light. They may be there to learn a lesson. They may be there for whatever purpose and reason. That's okay. They will find their truth. They will find their journey and shift. And some of us may go down to that timeline and then come back out of it. And it's all this dance. And that's all okay. And I'm just looking, some of my other notes, I think I'm covering. Another thing with oneness, and those on the twin flame journey understand this, the whole male female. And it's not just twin flames, it's about balancing the masculine feminine energies, because we have both. So it's really important to balance that energy and come into a perfect balance within self of the masculine and feminine energies within you. Because for those on the twin flame journey, we know we have to do that balance before you can have union with your twin, even an energetic union. This comes into play with oneness and unity, because that's the oneness and unity within self, is the oneness and unity within yourself, with your masculine aspects, with your shadow self, with your child, your inner child, with your higher self, and all of your aspects. I started learning of some of my other aspects beyond Mary Magdalene, and I was like, well, I thought she was just really the only one. Well, she was the one I merged with first and had to get to know the most, because that was my mission. And I'm here to carry her energy and to share it as a divine feminine energy, you know, is really the return of the Christ consciousness energy that we're here to do. So when I started learning of other energies, I was like really in denial of it. And it's like, no, there's no way I'm just this person, you know? And it was really the ego and the fear coming in, because I was afraid of these other identities and aspects. And once I recognized that, okay, that's separating myself. I had to come into that oneness and bring in those other aspects and say, I accept you and I pull you in and you're part of me. And I accept my shadow. I accept my weaknesses. I accept all these parts of me as one. So you've got to forgive yourself, love yourself, all of yourself, your male self, your female self, all of your aspects. And I've had some message me saying, you know, I have an aspect of this being and they did bad things in the past. And I'm like, okay, that's okay. That's okay. It's who you are. You're not living that lifetime right now. You're here to recreate your template for you. And you take the energies of past lives and create your own template for the now, of the strength, the lessons. Past lives gives us wisdom. So they all serve a purpose. But my point is accepting all of yourself and coming into that oneness. Once we forgive ourselves and we accept ourselves and we love ourselves, we can then do that for everybody around us. Aha. That's the unity consciousness. When we are in duality and we have separation, we're judging. We are saying us and them, good and bad, your team, my team, black and white. It's two separate things. It's a separation. And it's a judgment ultimately, okay? When you're doing that, you're also judging yourself, because we are dark and light, but it's the coming together as one, like the yin yang symbol. But I'm seeing it almost as a gray. If you imagine a pendulum and two ends of a spectrum, you've got with duality, there's a lot of polarity, and that's where I'm saying it's really ending, is this extreme love and light where we're all you know, and the extreme darkness over here. And it's okay, guys, the extreme light come here, the extreme dark come here. Let's play together on one playground in harmony. We don't have to necessarily completely change our ways. We need to come in together and play and cooperate as one. We don't have to agree, but it's being on the same playground, sharing our toys, sharing our knowledge, being in the same puzzle, recognizing we're all puzzle pieces of the same puzzle, not a separate puzzle over here, and it's all coming together. And And Pisa says, yes, exactly. We accept all aspects of self and then it expands out to others. Exactly. So it really, all of the healing we know begins with ourself. So once we do, and in healing is a continuous journey, right? It's a constant process. And so is the awakening. It's people say, how long does the awakening journey end? I'm like, forever. It's continuous. But it's really the union with self and the loving the self, the accepting of self, and the letting go of judgment of self. And I'm guilty with this. And the forgiveness of self. Once you do that, then that spills over. Okay. It's like the Ace of Cups that spills over to the collective. If you're judging yourself and hating a certain aspect of yourself or feeling ashamed, I've got this guilt card. If you're feeling that, then you have more work to do. You have forgiveness work to do. You have self-love work to do. So it's about going into that and coming into that self-love place with yourself. That is really ultimately the first step in unity, consciousness, and oneness, because it's that we can't do anything on a collective scale until we do it with ourselves and within. So you got to do the work within, and then that's going to organically spill out, because then you're going to exude that energy. You're going to shine that energy. You're going to just know it because you've already lived through those lessons. Okay. And then, so that kind of ties up that message I got. Just looking at my notes here. Okay. Diamond Dreamer was another message I got. Material wealth versus true prosperity. Sorry, there's a lot of glare. Sorry, it's backwards. It's like a mirror effect with the camera. Diamond Dreamer. Material wealth versus prosperity. I don't know if you can see that card. Gosh, sorry guys. So that's a perfect card for duality, because duality is a lot about materialism, wealth versus a true prosperity. Hi, Ian. So that materialism, wanting things to earn money, to do things so I can have a nicer car, so I can have the next, my clothes aren't nice enough, my car's not new enough, my, whatever, I need to have this, I need that. Putting value on material things versus value on who you are, on your truth, on service to others. And so there's a big difference when we are in service to others, for those of us doing this full time or even part time, and requesting payment or earning, attempting to earn income doing this. It's an energy exchange for one, but the key is the intent. I'm going to, become a light worker. I'm going to become a light worker as a job description and do Reiki and do this, that, and the other. And it's going to be like my job and it's a good way to earn money. Or am I doing this because I cannot possibly think of not doing it? I cannot possibly think of any other job. I cannot possibly think of doing anything else. And I know this is my calling. I know this is my truth. And I feel in my heart, I have to share my gifts and I need to speak my truth and I need to help people and I need to heal people. And I know I can do this. So there's a big difference. And that's really with duality, is whether you are a light worker, or not, really it comes down to, you don't have to even be a light worker. You could be somebody in the quote unquote normal unawakened world, but they might have the biggest heart, doing things with the right intent, with a loving intent, helping people, being that person that holds, pays it forward, holds the door open, buys a coffee, helps somebody who fell down or whatever. They might be, asleep, but yet doing everything right. And that's awesome, because they're doing things with that loving intent versus doing things for a pocketbook. And as a nurse of 25 years experience, I can say that there are nurses who are there because it was their calling and they had the natural gift for healing and for touch and for compassion. And there are those that were in it for the money, say, hey, this is a great, reliable job. I'll always have a job and it's great money and I can go anywhere. And that's true. But there's a whole, divide, even when I was in the nursing, of you can really see that difference. And so really that card was saying that the abundance and prosperity comes when you're in alignment as a secondary bonus, if you will, to being in alignment and doing the work that, Spirit's guiding you to do and what your soul is guiding you to do. And I think that's all I had written down there. Stephen says it doesn't look backwards to me. Oh, not backwards, but on me, Stephen, like if I go to my right, it does, like, I think I'm going inner on my screen, and so it's backwards. It's backwards to me. It's like a mirror. It's like looking in the mirror is what I'm saying on the screen when I'm looking at myself to see what direction I need to move the card. That's what I meant. And I'll close up with, I did pull some tarot cards, which were very interesting about duality. And the very first card I got was the Devil. When I asked about duality, and that's really the lower vibrational energies, the chaotic energies, the darker energies, and our world. And I'm not even gonna, I'm not even gonna get into it. That's probably a whole nother video as to why does our universe even have, or this world, our galaxy, even have duality in the first place. Oh, that's another rabbit hole. I'm not going to get into that. This is just kind of a basic one. That's another video, because this is already long enough. But the whole, I'm just trying to think how I can sum that up in a nutshell, really. The earth goes through cycles, and I've watched different videos, and I've heard and learned different things about how did we end up with duality. Hey, Jason, welcome. Hey. How did we end up with duality? And there's many different theories. I'm not going to speculate. I don't know the answer. But there's many different theories: programming, Anunnaki, the negative alien agenda, gods from another universe that sought to create chaos here. It goes on and on. Might be all of the above. I don't know. But, we've experienced it. I'm not going to go look backwards, and I'm not here to look backwards to figure out why. And I'm not asking why, and I don't want you to ask why. It is what it is. We've been living it, but we're shifting. And that's what the focus is going forward. It's not about judging and looking backwards and saying, look at all this chaos, look at all this torment that we've been living through, look at all the wars, look at all these things, look at all the fighting, look at the, attacks and what, happens in the government system or whatever. I'm not even going to get into all that stuff, but we're not here to look at the past. We're here to let it go and to look forward. But that devil energy, and this, forgive me, because this tarot deck is a brand new one. It's the Millenium Thoth Tarot, and it's an incredible deck. But the meanings are very different than most tarot. And I'm gonna read. I just am. What it says in here. Oh, see, and this is why I'm reading it. A time of transition is at hand. The stage of your journey is ending. Rebirth and resurrection. Oh, wait, I'm reading the death card, which, funny enough, the death card came out too. Okay. So the death card also came out, which it looks like he's holding a cicadas, or I'm pronouncing that wrong. The Seducus, kind of a gargoyle looking version of a Seducus. And then there's DNA. If you can see, sorry, the glare is terrible. Right here, it's actually a DNA strand, double helix, and this has two. So it's like there's the two worlds are living, coexisting, the duality and the oneness, the 3D and the 5D. And we talked about that overlap of the two. It's an experiment. Yeah, definitely an experiment. The two worlds are overlapping. And so with the death card, since I flipped to that page, it says a time of transition. Stage of your journey is ending, resurrection, birth. So yeah, so the death card is really about death and rebirth and transition. And I did have the transition card earlier in the reading too. The cicadas, thank you. Caduceus. I don't know why I say cicadas. Like, I honestly don't. It's like I said it once that way and it's programmed in my head, I swear. Thanks, Jason. Yeah, the caduceus, which is the medical, with the snakes, with the medical, symbol. Also Archangel Raphael, who did come in earlier today, is guiding this. But it's that transition from one world to another. And like I said, we're on this transition road to 2032. It's not going to be easy, but we are here to be the light, to be the higher one up, to help guide people. The Devil card does say about duality, and this was when I asked about duality, what is it? What does it do? It says, give in to your impulses rather than desires. Free yourself from the temptations that take away your autonomy. Your position of stagnation is an illusion. You can break free at any moment. So there you go. People can break free at any moment to make this decision to 5D Earth, to oneness, okay? Prime Creator created the new templates for New Earth that are based on oneness. It is not based on duality, guys, okay? So basically, if you want to get on the ship that is going to New Earth, then you need to embrace oneness. And that's just the honest truth about it. And yeah, Jason, I was saying cicada. Yeah, I know. A bug. Yeah. Cicada means a new cycle. Oh, there you go. How appropriate is that, Lisa? It kind of does. That is, yeah, that's interesting. So, you know, there's like two different worlds here, right? But it's breaking free of energies that control us and being independent, breaking free of illusions, being independent and having sovereignty. And ultimately, again, what is New Earth? It's about sovereignty. And I looked at the clock and it's 1:11, 1 hour, 11 minutes, 44 to be exact. It's about sovereignty, which means nobody controlling us, okay? So it's about letting that go. And then I had gotten, sorry, bear with me for a moment. Again, this deck is very different. 5 of Wands and 7 of Wands, which are both about a lot of chaotic energy. 5 of Wands, it says locked in a battle of competitive wits, struggling to make your will known, intentionally getting back to somebody. Wow, does that not speak about 5D Earth or what? Battle. Locked in a battle of comparative wits. We are not here about comparison because that's judgment. This is not judgment. This is not comparison. And this is all about oneness and unconditional love. What did Yeshua teach 2,000 years ago about unconditional love and acceptance? When he was attacked by people and his disciples will be, well, you know, Master, aren't you gonna, you know, do something? Doesn't it bother you? Aren't you gonna say something? And he would show them so much love and so much love and compassion and forgiveness, because that's how he taught. He walked the walk. He didn't just stand and preach it. He showed it when people did attack him, even on the cross, you know, forgive them for they know not what they do, right? So he didn't battle. Did he get mad and upset? Absolutely. But the duality, when I asked, you know, for the energies of duality, this is one of the cards that came up, Visa. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. And you're here with us. Thank you, beautiful soul. I love you. Thank you for being here, Fiza. Oh my God, I'm sending you so much love right now. Sending you so much love. Okay, that's yeah. That's you and one other person then. I think you know who I'm talking about too. So yeah, this is intentionally getting back at someone. And that's taking out revenge. So when somebody does you wrong, when they attack you, when they hurt your ego, when they say something bad about you, even if you know that they're in the wrong and you're in the right, it doesn't matter. Let it go. Walk away from it. I've had to learn this lesson myself, because I'd be like, but, you're the child. And, Yeshua's like, no, let it go. Walk away from the drama, step away from the drama. Don't participate and add to it. It's kind of like on Facebook where you have like the trolls that just want to seek to attack, and they're just there to stir up stuff. You just walk away from it. You take the higher ground. You always rise higher. And that's how we teach people in our everyday lives, in our jobs, in our families, in the 3D world, by rising above all of the conflict, all of the chaos, all of the fighting, all of the competition. This is not a competition. The light worker community is not a competition, guys, okay? It is not a competition. We're here to learn from each other. We're here to love one another. We're here to accept one another. We're here to show unconditional love and compassion to one another, and to set an example. Because if we're doing this to each other, how on earth are we going to help the collective to transition? I mean, how? How can we call ourselves light workers? It's not a label or an identity or job description. It's a way of being. And that means doing it as much as you can every day. And to speak the truth, and to live the truth. And we're human. We make mistakes. I make mistakes. We get angry. We get triggered. We have more work to do, and that's okay. And we can, and we're learning, and we forgive ourselves, but we're not in a battle with ourselves. We're not in a battle with spirit. We're not in a battle with anybody. Even when we're doing clearings, like some of you guys join in on like earth clearings and Gaia clearings and healing, group and collective clearing. And when those of you, that are dark workers and that go in and work with the grid, and we come across the dark beings, we're not there to seek and destroy. It's not a computer game, guys. I mean, maybe some may say it is, but you know what I mean? It is about, and I've learned my lesson through experience of how to clear dark entities in people or from the grid when I do grid work. And you speak to the beings, and you give them love, and you forgive them, and you tell them, you know what? I recognize you. You're from source. You're part of love. You're part of light. You have light within you. You have free will to leave this battle, to lay down your sword, to walk away, and step onto unity consciousness, to the devil card. That's the devil energy, seeks to control, and to control with fear. You have the choice. The devil does not have you locked in a cage. The devil energy, the dark energy, the controlling energy does not keep you tied up. You have the keys. You have the keys to walk away. You have the keys to freedom. You have the keys to your path, your divinity, your truth, your soul, and where you're going. You always have the keys. These guys seek to tell you that they're in control, that you have to do this or else. They put the fear in there. They're going to tell you what will happen or else, and if you don't, which is a bunch of malarkey. You always have a choice. And that's how we talk to the dark beings that often are there against their free will. A lot of the reptilian races are there against their free will. When I've removed like reptilian entities, and they don't want to be there. They're placed there to suck the light energy out of people, and I speak to them with love. And you know what? Let's go. And I have my dragon team. It's all angelic Christ consciousness energy, and we gently take out those entities, and we say, let's go. You're going to go back home. You're going to go to source. You're going to return to source. Okay, so it's ending that battle. And then I had the interesting enough, not much of a very similar message, was Seven of Wands. And I love these because they have the Phoenix on them in this deck. And the Phoenix means, sorry, I gotta switch hands because it's backwards on my screen. The Phoenix is about rising above the flames, coming above, rising above. And it says in here, stand your ground, rise up to meet the obstacles, look where you are losing your ground. So it's really about that, again, rising above. And it's like knowing when to choose your battles and when to protect your timeline and your truth and your sovereignty against the devil, against the darkness, against people in the 3D world, against whoever it is that is challenging you and challenging your truth and challenging your path and trying to stand in front of you and saying, well, who do you think you are? And you can't do that, or else, you know, regardless of who it is in the physical world or in the energetic world. Okay. Jason says, Jung said, make the darkness consciousness. Absolutely. I got chills when I read that. Thank you, Jason. That's beautiful. Again, that's what the oneness is about. It's about us shining that light, going into the darkness, going in the cave with our flashlight and shining it and saying, hey, we're here. I'm not afraid of you. You're part of me. I'm part of you. Let's go walk together, and to show them that forgiveness and the compassion, and to say, let's go. And then another card I had gotten was 7 of Cups. And this particular card, 7 of Cups, is about the fantasy, but in this particular card, it's about toxic energy, and the cups are being filled with this green goo slime. And to me, it looks radioactive. It looks radioactive, and it's basically the entities, the energies, the psychic attacks, implants energies, radioactive energies from 5G, from whatever it is that you want, toxic energy from Visa, bless your heart, from a relationship, toxic energy from a job, toxic energy from something. Okay. So this card is about releasing the toxic energy and doing a detox on whatever level, that means a spiritual detox, energetic detox, a life detox, a medical health, physical, whatever that means. So this is asking us to detox, because our cups that should be filled with love and unity are being filled with toxic energy. So we need to recognize the toxic energy and do a detox of this in whatever. Kryptonite, hell, like that, because it's green, right? It's kind of a cool card. Yeah, it's green goo, and in the book it actually says toxic energy. So it's about clearing and releasing that toxic energy, and recognizing it. Sometimes we don't recognize it. And that's the tough part. That can be the tough part. And I'm almost done here. Bear with me. I'm sorry it's been so long. Then the last couple cards I got are 9 and 10 of Cups, which are beautiful. When I asked about oneness, what does oneness bring? Which is all about family and love. And 9 of Cups, this is the 9 of Cups. 9 of Cups, and they all have lotus on them. 9 of Cups is all about dreams coming true, wishes coming true. So it's kind of like the star card. And it's one of the best high vibe cards of a tarot deck. Appropriate for Pisa? Absolutely, Jason. I agree. So the 9 of Cups is about wishes and dreams coming true. And this is the other thing. What I want you guys to think of with this card is also about the future and looking into the dreams and wishes. So this is about making a wish. We're not really there yet. We are in the middle of it, aren't we, Fiza? I mean, and everybody, we're in the middle of it. And we're detoxing, we're shifting, we're peeling layers. We're not there, but you know what? Think of this. Think of this energy. That's the wish, the dream, the hope. That's the hope card, okay? When I asked about oneness and new earth, and I got that card, and the 10 of Cups. So it's about the hope. The 10 of Cups is about harmony. And I have another deck where the 10 of Cups is, it's really cute. It is a a Buddha, like you've seen the image of the happy laughing Buddha. They're actually showing me that card right now. It's in my Oceanic Tarot, and he's a big fat happy laughing Buddha, and he's got like this big smile, and he's holding like, I think he's holding a rose in each hand, and he's just sitting there like chilling, like life is good, like he's all zen and like a Buddha energy. And what is the Buddha energy? The Buddha energy, this is the message coming through right now, thank you. The Buddha energy is all about observation. I got chills coming in, thank you, Yeshua. It's about observation. It's a state of being. I wish if I had that deck sitting in front of me, and I don't, I would show it to you. It's a really cool card. The Buddha energy, the Taoist energy is just Zen-like, okay? Doesn't mean you don't ever have to be human and react and have emotions and get upset. We're here to have a human experience, and that's perfectly well. You have to express your emotions, okay? But really, it's about coming back to center and just rising above, because the Phoenix energy, it was there in the other card, is really about rising above and observing from a higher perspective, and observing, being Zen, not reacting, and maintaining the peace and harmony within. If we respond to whatever it is in our world with aggression, with chaos, with this energy of these two cards of wanting to fight and battle, we're no different, okay? So it's about coming into the balance, going with the flow of this card too. The water is just flowing, right? Our cups overflow with love. And so it's really going with the flow. It's allowing this energy from spirit, okay, from the crown going all the way down. And it's about the emotions flowing, the energy flowing, and filling your own cup up with love and sharing that cup. So imagine like you're the cup, and the way showers and light workers are the one at the top, and we've, summited this mountain because we're, kind of ahead of the collective, and that's our job as way showers and light workers. We have to fill our cup and come into the oneness as one cup. And then they're showing me, then you share with this person, and then that person shares with this person. It's like those fountains, and then they share with this person, and then with this person. And before you know it, this guy on the bottom that's sitting there in darkness in the mud is getting all this beautiful energy from you. And so that's kind of the interesting message that's coming through with that card. But also with the Buddha energy, it's being Zen and not responding. Final card. Thank you for bearing with me and staying. Hi to Yeshua. Good day, buddy. Yes. He says, flow. And the final one I got is, again, this deck is different. Art. This card is the Temperance card, and it's beautiful, and I really want you to go. It's interesting, Jason, and very synchronistic. You just said flow, because look at this. What is she doing? She has, gosh, I wish I didn't have this glare on here. I'm sorry if I'm making you all dizzy. Okay, right there. It's art. It is basically the art of alchemy. She has gold energy in the right, and that's the masculine, okay? And Yeshua Sananda represents masculine, and he's also represents the sun. The sun is masculine energy. The left is kind of a silvery blue color, and that represents the feminine. The left side is the feminine, and the moon energy is the feminine. And so it's this mixture into a pot of alchemy. So it's the balance. It's the perfect balance of the masculine and the feminine, the left and the right brains, the left side and the right side. The politically, you could look at that. Sexually, you could look at that. Whatever way you want to look at that, but it's the merging. So oneness is taking the left and the right and putting it together into one pot. When everything's in the pot, it becomes the soup. It becomes one. Your soup can have as many ingredients as you want, but it's no longer carrots. It's no longer celery. It's no longer, whatever, salt and sage and whatever ingredients you have in there. It's now soup. that's what we're doing. We're alchemists. And you've got the lion and the eagle, which, interesting enough, also represent the Christ consciousness energy, the lion tribe of Judah, and the eagle, and Yeshua and Sananda, Jesus. It represents his energy as well. So it's that Christ consciousness energy, and pouring that energy into the grid, connecting to the crystalline grid that some, there's a lot of gold energy coming in right now. So it's connecting to the grid, merging your energies, and just really being your own alchemist, and then sharing that energy with the world. But the temperance card, which is what this is harmony. Just Jason, you're exactly right. It's this harmony. It's the balance. It's no longer two different things. The sun and moon are always in perfect balance. They're always in a perfect dance together, right? The moon wouldn't have light on it if it wasn't for the sun. Okay. So it's this always this perfect balance. And what they're now showing me is you are the alchemist. You are her. You are this energy that has the power in your hands to create your future, to create your reality, to create your timeline. You are your alchemist. You have that power within you. And that is the closing message of today, guys. And we're here at an hour and 30 minutes. I'm so sorry it's taken this long, but Spirit is just, when they want to speak through me, it's always a lot. So I apologize for the length, but this is really a beautiful closing message for everybody about being your own alchemist and taking control, okay? Taking ultimate control of your life. That you're making your own soup, you're making your own timeline, you're making your own world, you're making your own new earth. So I'm going to leave it at that. If anybody, since I am putting this on YouTube, I wasn't going to leave it open too long for comments or questions, but if I will for a few minutes, if anybody wants to say anything or has questions, please say so. You really enjoyed this. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I will upload this to YouTube, to my YouTube channel, and share. I do want to say, thank you, Fiza. I do want to say, and again, this is kind of last minute, I'm going to get back to doing I think I'm just going to leave this in my Facebook group and not completely public. You're welcome, Fiza. To doing the group healing meditations, the guided meditation and the Reiki. Last year, I was doing them where I would take you into a guided theta meditation for like 10, 15 minutes. And then I would do about 30 minutes of Reiki and send it out to everybody. And thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Claire. And I was doing that last year, and we did different themes each time. Some were for the divine masculine, some were inner child theme. I kind of allowed Michael to guide me as to the theme. Since then, I've been doing a lot more work with Source and a lot more grid work, and teaming up with some of you guys, doing more collective work with Gaia. So I'm thinking of doing another live tomorrow that's for healing in my group. If you're not in my group, please join. It's Awaken Your Body and Soul. And doing a collective healing. So it would still be the same thing where we'll do a guided meditation live, and I'll do Reiki for everybody present. But I'll also simultaneously ask, while you receive the energy, to be meditating and visualizing, and whatever way that you personally are guided to send out love and healing energy to Gaia, and to just send out love and healing energy to the collective. So when I do this work, I invite in the higher selves of the all and send it to Gaia and to the collective. So I'm thinking of doing that tomorrow. I will make a post for that. Not sure on the time, if it's going to be like, again, around the same time. So I might do that around the same time in the afternoon tomorrow, 3:30-ish or so. I'd like to try to include the people in Europe and not make it too late for you guys. If I can do it earlier, I will. And I might do that earlier, but I would like to do that tomorrow, maybe, around 3 o'clock Central Time. It's and I'm in Central in Canada, is where I am, just in case you're wondering where I am. So yeah, I'm just going to close with that. And I love you guys. Thank you so much. I will post this. Please watch it in the replay. If you watch and replay, just type replay. And I send my love and heart out to everybody, whether you're here live with me or watching in the replay. And I hope to see you tomorrow on the live for the group Reiki and Healing, and it'll be beautiful. If you want to join, you're not in my group. It's Awaken Your Body and Soul. Please, you're welcome to come join and see what it's about. If you've never had energy healing with me, it's amazing. It's beautiful. And I absolutely adore doing it. Anyway, it's and I just learned when I did a session with Jamie that apparently I do 12th dimensional healing, Stargate healing. So that was kind of a new thing. So it's called Awaken Your Body and Soul. I'll try to put a link in the comments, Carmen, but you're more than welcome to join. And then, and I'll kind of arrange it officially and put a little event thing. And I'm going to try to get back to doing it weekly, on a regular basis. I had been doing them like every Sunday, afternoon. So I'm going to try to get back to that, but I've been so much in the flow with stuff that the whole sticking to a schedule hasn't worked as well for me as it did last year. I think that's a lot of you are finding the same thing. So yeah, so you're welcome to join, and do some healing receive healing. And then if you feel guided to also to send healing out, at the same time. So thank you for being here, and have a wonderful rest of your Sunday evening, guys. Namaste. Bye-bye.